Howdy folks, hope you're all having a good one, and welcome back to World of Warships with Rear Admiral Jingles, where today, Hillbilly Simmer here, I honestly don't know what's been going on with your names lately, but they have all been really good, is playing a Tier 5 battle on the Archipelago map in the German Tier 5 battleship, the König. There are a couple of bots present in this game, but not many, just 2 of the cruisers and 1 of the destroyers on each team. Tier 5 is not a popular tier to play at for a number of reasons. One, most people just prefer playing higher tier ships. And 2, Tier 5 can be incredibly rough because it's where you lose your protected matchmaking. Up to Tier 4 you only have to fight ships that at best are going to be 1 tier higher than you, but once you reach Tier 5 the training wheels come off and you can and will find yourself fighting Tier 7s, which in the case of Tier 5 battleships, although not so much the König, and we'll come on to that in a moment, but in the case of most Tier 5 battleships can be particularly rough, because at Tier 5, a battleship's bow and stern is only covered by 19mm of armour plating. To put that into perspective, that's the same kind of armour plating that most Tier 10 destroyers have. And 19mm of plating can be overmatched, which means there's no bounce, there's no ricochet check made if they get hit by an armour-piercing shell of 272mm of calibre or higher. So every battleship that you're going to face, basically. Even the Scharnhorst with its 283mm guns, and even some of the cruisers like the Graf Spee. However, it's not quite as bad for the König as it is for other Tier 5 battleships, because while it does technically have the same 19mm bow and stern plating, at the front, on the bows, from the waterline up to about halfway up, it's covered by a 150mm icebreaker, which drastically reduces the chances of you being overmatched from the front when you're bow tanking, and also the deck armour is pretty good, with the midships deck being 30mm, giving you some protection like that from plunging fire. Shots that come in from long range, basically from directly above, thanks to the high ballistic arc of the shells fired at that kind of range. Also, parts of the midship belt are up to 350mm thick. See, a lot of people ask the question, hang on Jingles, what are you talking about? 19mm of armour, this is supposed to be a battleship, surely it has more armour than that. And yes, when I'm referring to this kind of armour, I'm specifically just talking about the bow and stern plating, which tends to be weaker because you can't have 350mm of armour everywhere, not if you want the battleship to be able to move. And the thickness of the bow plating in particular is very important for battleships because it dictates what kind of calibre armour-piercing shell you can safely bow tank by nosing in and angling slightly towards the enemy. So while Hillbilly here can technically still have his bows overmatched and potentially be citadelled from the front by every single battleship on the enemy team, realistically he's got a 50-50 chance that the 150mm icebreaker strip along the bows are going to stop that from happening. Enemy Kotovsky, Tier 5 cruiser, just popped... oh well, so much for that. Just popped up there in his starboard beam. Inside secondary gun battery range. That was incredibly confident of the Kotovsky captain, and Hillbilly just let the secondaries finish him. He was on very, very low health. I guess he just didn't like the matchmaking. He wanted this over and done with as soon as possible. Oh, the Ishizushi's going to regret that. You see, this is another question that I often see in the comments from people who probably aren't World of Warships players, because that's the traditional image that people have of warships, sailing parallel courses exchanging broadsides with each other. And during the Age of Sail, when 90% of a ship's guns were mounted in the sides, that made perfect sense. But when the ships have turrets, you don't have to do that to get all guns firing. And there's kill number 3. And yes, you want to present less of a target to the enemy. Plus, that Ishizushi, while it was pretty fast and well armed for a Tier 4 battleship, it does not have the best armour with only a 203mm belt. But even if the Ishizushi had had the 350mm belt that Hillbilly's König has, it would have still died under that kind of close-range armour-piercing barrage. The shells are coming in at a nice flat angle, that's why we call it giving a flat broadside, so there's no ricochet check made whatsoever. There's just a simple armour penetration check. 203mm of armour is no protection against 305mm guns at that kind of range. Oh, these numbers and figures are starting to make my head spin, Jingles. Am I supposed to remember all of this? Well, no, not really. Honestly, the rules in World of Warships for armor-piercing penetration mechanics can get kind of complicated. All you need to know is never give a flat broadside if a battleship's looking at you, especially at close range. Always try to angle at 45 degrees or more. There are exceptions to the rule, of course, although the Königsberg over there is definitely not one of them. Ships that have armour so flimsy that armour-piercing shells just tend to overpenetrate, like most destroyers, for example. But there are also some cruisers, like the Russian Tier 10 Smolensk, which has armour that is so flimsy that Smolensk captains love to troll battleship players by exposing flat broadsides to them, and then just watching their 16-inch armour-piercing shells completely overpenetrate, go right through and out the other side without causing any kind of major damage. Ooh, major damage like that. You don't really have these kind of problems down here at the mid-tiers. Everything is far less complicated, which is as it should be, and one of the other reasons why I just really kind of enjoy playing tiers 5 to 7 more than any other. The rules are simple. Don't show people your broadside. Broadside is bad, okay? That's it. That's basically the only rule. Well, there are a few more. Always remember that once Mr. Torpedo has left the launcher, he's no longer your or anybody else's friend, although since they turned off friendly fire, Mr. Torpedo isn't quite as dangerous as he used to be. Also, smoke screens are torpedo magnets. Just because they can't see you in the smoke screen doesn't mean they can't kill you in the smoke screen. And another one related to smoke screens is, and this is again mostly applicable to battleship players, although I've seen cruiser captains and even destroyer captains falling for this one as well. If a smoke screen pops up within torpedo range and you don't think it's one of yours, turn. Turn which way? It doesn't matter. Just turn. And speed up or slow down as well. Whatever. Just don't go sailing in straight lines when you're within torpedo range of angry smoke screens. But how am I supposed to know what the ranges are of the torpedoes of every destroyer in the... Look, if you don't know, just assume you're in torpedo range and react accordingly. You'll thank me later. Oh, one other rule. Very important. Never drink yellow snow. That doesn't have anything to do with warships, it's just a good rule. Ah, the Rhine, German Tier 4 aircraft carrier. So this is a kind of good news, bad news situation. The good news is that Tier 4 aircraft carriers tend to not do a huge amount of damage. The bad news is that, well, Tier 4 or 5 anti-aircraft fire is pretty crap. The Rhine, however, is a special case, and what you're about to see happen is extremely rare. That was a Citadel hit. Why is that rare? Well, the Rhine has this really, really weird armour scheme. She has very thick and very long, like extending the entire length of the ship, and, above the waterline, torpedo protection. So if you hit it with a high explosive shell, it will do no damage. And if you hit it with an armour-piercing shell, it will usually do no damage as well. So players shooting at this thing, wanting to do any actual damage, usually have to aim right above the waterline. But this tends to result in overpenetrations. So the fact that Hillbilly has managed to score not one but 2 Citadels on a ship that's even more difficult to Citadel than a German high-tier battleship with a turtleback armour scheme is pretty remarkable. Because what usually tends to happen when you're shooting at this thing with anything other than destroyer armour piercing is the torpedo damage protection just eats all of your shots. You aim higher and then you get nothing but overpenetrations. So the fact that he was actually able to take the Rhine out in just 3 salvos is nothing short of spectacular. That is something that almost never happens. I mean, you can kind of see what I was talking about because you hit the Rhine with, what, 8 or 9 shots? More than half of them were overpenetrations. The remarkable thing is that 2 of them were Citadels. That almost never happens when you're shooting at that aircraft carrier. I guess the stars must have been lined up correctly for Hillbilly today. I failed to comment on it at the time, but he has of course scored a Kraken. In fact, the kill on the Rhine was kill number 6. It would not do to get complacent, however. They are 1 kill up, they are ahead on points, although not by much. Both teams have possession of one of the capture circles. But I've seen teams in far, far better positions than this throw it all away and somehow manage to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. At the same time, however, check out the Barask over there who's managed to run himself aground. That's one of the 3 bots on each team, which means that bot, currently still alive in the last 4 surviving ships, although not anymore, that bot was technically doing better than 2/3 of the rest of his team. Although, you know, to be completely fair, that does kind of work both ways. You could see it as that bot almost single-handedly fighting the rest of Hillbilly's team to a standstill. But Hillbilly's team have one thing that the enemy team do not. Hillbilly going on an absolute and utter rampage and racking up kills left, right and centre. Although it is easy to be dismissive of the rest of his team. I mean, he's hunting down targets like the Cavor over there that don't have a huge amount of health left, and while if he gets him, this is going to be his 8th kill, he has still done less than 100,000 damage. Although, that doesn't necessarily mean he's just been kill-stealing, because let's not forget, we're talking about a tier where even the battleships at best only have around 50,000 hit points. And he has just broken 100,000 damage, which is a respectable amount of damage to do in a tier 5 battleship, even if you are top tier. In fact, particularly if you are top tier, because it means the majority of your enemies are going to be tier 4 and just don't have that much health to begin with in the first place. Isn't that the same thing, Jingles? Look, just shut up, alright? It's my video, I'll say what I like. Is he going to get the Cavor, though? 8 kills would be nice. I guess we'll find out. Shots out. There they go. They look pretty good. So he took his time about it, made sure they were going to be on target. Yeah, oh no! Kill denied. Knocked out a gun turret though. Hillbilly isn't the only one shooting at him though. There's some armour piercing coming in there from the ARP High, slightly up to the northwest. Although the Cavor is angled against him. Shots out again. Surely this is going to be kill number 8. No, the High gets him. Kill number 8 denied. There are still another 2 enemy ships around, so potentially there are 9 kills on the table. But that's the thing, in World of Warships, unlike in World of Tanks, once you've achieved your 5th kill, anything else is just window dressing. There are no additional rewards for, or for example, you get a Top Gun for 6 kills in World of Tanks, a Radley Walters medal for 8, and a Pools medal for 10. In World of Warships, anything beyond your 5th kill is just damage farming and bragging rights. And there's the high caliber. Adding to an already impressive haul of medals, started with the close quarters expert, he got the Kraken Unleashed, he just earned the Confederate and now the high caliber into the bargain. So this is definitely not just kill stealing. He's talking the talk, but he's walking the walk too. Enemy team have managed to pull 1 kill back, although honestly the writing is on the wall here. They don't control any of the cap circles. Hillbilly's team are so far ahead on points, and they have a 2-to-1 numerical advantage. Oh, Hillbilly boy, what is going on? Yes, that was a Pulp Fiction reference. Although you'd be surprised these days how many people wouldn't get it. I mean, Pulp Fiction came out in 1994. That's nearly 30 years ago. Oh no, oh, there he is. Come on, Hillbilly boy. Surely this is going to be kill number 8. Oh, somebody try to get it. No, there it is. Okay, that was a kill steal. But honestly, when you're at 7 kills, I don't think anybody really cares. There's a potential 9th kill on the table here. But I don't think anybody realistically expects the surviving enemy Koenig to be able to win this. Although it's probable that he's going to be able to take the Gangut with him. In fact, it's extremely likely that he's going to be able to take the Gangut with him. The question is whether or not Hillbilly Simmer can get close enough to snatch that final kill. I mean, it's not impossible, but it is unlikely. I still really don't know how to pronounce the name of that Japanese Congo clone. Well, it's not a Congo clone, it's a member of the Congo class up ahead. Hey, whatever. The Japanese thing up front is closer and does have substantially longer range guns. By about 5 kilometres. That may end up working in Hillbilly's favour though, because if between the carrier, the Langley, the Gangut, and the Japanese Congo sister ship, they might be able to reduce the enemy Koenig to low enough health, although you could argue that he's there anyway, that just one overpen, and there goes the Gangut as predicted, but potentially just one overpen from Hillbilly's guns, if he's on low enough health, might be enough to take the kill. He's going to be in range very soon. The Hay could, of course, just obliterate that enemy Koenig in one salvo. It does have bigger guns, 356 versus the Koenig's 305. But as we've seen, the Koenig's a tough ship, and he's not showing broadside, he's angling, and he is better armoured than the Japanese battleship. So it's possible that the Hay may just do enough damage to reduce that Koenig to low enough health. Ooh, here we go, shots out. He might do it. This could be kill number 9. Oh no. Typical battleship long-range dispersion. Shots went left, shots went right, shots dropped short, shots went long, anywhere but on the target. That's going to give the Hay another chance. And I kind of feel like the Japanese battleship deserves the kill. Oh no! Hillbilly's still in with a chance to get kill number 9. Except he didn't give enough lead. Couple of hits, but that's... yeah, the Hay's got this. Or maybe the Langley. But it's not going to be Hillbilly Simmer. And you know why it's not going to be Hillbilly Simmer? That's why it's not going to be Hillbilly Simmer. That's what you get when you tunnel vision in on the target. So, never mind. Hillbilly is just going to have to settle. He's just going to have to put up with only getting 8 kills. I know. First world problems, yeah? Anyway, well done, Hillbilly. Everyone else, I hope you enjoyed it. And as always, take care, stay safe, and I'll catch you next time.